right! Thank God it's fantasy football season. I'm Buster Brown, and the show is called Redemption Rehab. And if you tuned in today, it's because you want to get better at one thing, and that's fantasy football. Today, we're talking about some of my top picks and some of my sleeper picks that'll help you get the job done. So let's take a look at position players, like defenses, like kickers. So let's hit the chalkboard
and check out the facts.
Okay, here we are on one of my favorite sites once again, which is Fantasy Football Calculator. Today, we're talking about my top kickers and my top defenses. We're also talking about my top sleepers at kicker and my top sleepers on defense. So as to dig deeper into this, we're going to have to go over here to where you see View Today's ADP sheet. We're going to click on that right now. Okay, once you've clicked on the ADP, here's where we are now. We're going to go up here to the top left-hand corner of the screen, right up here where you see the word draft in green. So click on draft, and you'll see all these things that come in down here. Mock drafts, average draft position, rankings, and draft tools. What you want to click on now is your rankings. See where it says here, rankings? You put in the league, PPR, half PPR. You're in a non-PPR or standard league, or maybe you're in a 2-quarterback league. Just click the league that you're in, and that'll give you the rankings that you want. I'm going to click on the PPR rankings because I only play in 12-man PPR leagues all this year. Okay, once I clicked on that, this is what came up, and this is the rankings. And as you can see over here, I'm in my PPR league, and I have the all button hit if you go over to the left. We could talk about quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, kickers, defenses, or a flex player. They rank all that for you. Today, we're talking kickers and defenses. So let's take a look at the kickers. Okay, here we are on the kicker average draft position cheat sheet. As you can see over here to the left, Greg Zuerlein is ranked number 1. If you go and take a look at my draft strategies for 2019, it explains to what you do during a draft to draft a kicker. Normally, I draft a kicker between rounds 18 and 20. I usually have a list of 10. I take the best available one in those rounds. As you can see right here, Greg Zuerlein is number 1, Justin Tucker. If you're going to take one of these guys, you're probably going to have to do it before round 18. However, I usually don't do that. I usually wait for a kicker. And the kickers that I would suggest you take if you're going to wait to round 18 are down here. I like the kicker for Houston. I think they're going to move the ball a lot. Kai Fairbaum. He's going to be a kicker that you could probably get in round 18. And if he's not available, I suggest you take Jake Elliott for the Eagles. I think you'll see these guys move the ball a lot, and they can score you a ton of points. That's what you're trying to do, is get a kicker that on an offense that scores a lot of points. So let's take a look at some sleepers. Okay, let's say you had your top 10 list ready like I suggested in my draft strategies on kickers, and none of them are available when you come up to round 18. So what I would do is look for teams that can move the ball and have a consistent kicker. If you look at last year, a team like the New York Giants had a kicker who went to the Pro Bowl. His name was Aldrich Rojas. He went to the Pro Bowl and was a consistent kicker. Whether the Giants can move the ball up and down the field is the main question, but I would highly consider taking him if you get a chance later in the late rounds, between rounds 18 and 20. Other kickers I like, you can never go wrong taking Ryan Succop. He's been hurt in the preseason, but they say he's healthy, and they do move the ball up the field a lot in Tennessee, and he will make a lot of field goals for you. So I can suggest you take him. Other players I can suggest you take are Graham Gano. Graham Gano plays for Carolina, and they should be able to move the ball, and he's a consistent kicker. And the Buffalo kicker, Steven Hauschka. Normally throughout the year, I stream a kicker. If my kicker has a bad matchup, I'll cut him and pick one up just because of the matchup. And regularly I stream kickers all year, and along with defenses, I regularly stream those too. What that means is when I say stream, that means I change the kicker and defense on a regular basis. Those are my top picks and my sleepers for kickers. So, if you get a chance, take a peek at my 2019 draft strategy for kickers. It's only a few minutes long and it will help you in your draft. So let's go take a look at my top picks on defenses and my sleepers for the defensive position in the 2019 upcoming draft. Okay, all I did was go to the top of the screen and click off of kickers and clicked on to defenses, and this is what came up. As you can see at the top of the screen here, Chicago's got the #1 defense, followed by the Rams and Jacksonville. Those are all good defenses, but they usually go earlier in the draft than I'm willing to take them. Earliest I'm willing to take a defense is between rounds 13 and 16. If you get a chance to watch my 2019 draft strategy on defenses, I make a list of my top 10 defenses, and I usually pick the best one between rounds 13 and 16. Who would I be able to get between rounds 13 and 16? Let's take a look. My #1 defense that I would probably go after in round 13 through 16 is Cleveland. Normally the defenses above Cleveland are gone before round 13, but I'm looking at a good defense that's going to get me some points and shut out a lot of teams this year, and it's going to be Cleveland. My second choice is Dallas. Dallas has a lot of speed, and they've signed some young players to some big contracts, and I think you'll see that Dallas puts a hurting on a lot of teams in a weak division. Also, you can't go wrong with Denver. Denver's going to rush the quarterback, and they've got a good defensive-minded coach that they're going to put up some points on defense, and they're going to put some quarterbacks possibly on their back early and often in the league. So those are my defenses I would be targeting early. If they're there in rounds 13 through 16, and these are my top 10 defenses, well, then I'm going to grab one. Let's go take a look at some of the sleeper defenses in case your top 10 is unavailable for you. Okay, let's take a look at some sleeper defenses that many people don't have on their radar. So let's go over here to the top of the list at number 13. I think Buffalo's going to have a really good chance at having a good defense this year. Another team I'd like to mention is Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh regularly has a defense. They drafted some players to fill some holes over the last couple of years. I think you can put Pittsburgh's defense on the list of sleeper defenses you might want to go after later in a draft. Two other defenses I would consider, they've added a lot of depth and they're good teams, is the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans defenses. Let me give you another couple teams that may help you early in the season if your top 10 list is already gone. Okay, right here, I think Green Bay's defense has improved tremendously. I think they're going to do well. I think you could come down here, even though they're at the bottom of this list. I think you could probably count on Washington's defense to be pretty good. They have them ranked 32nd here. I think they should be probably a top 15 defense by the end of the year. So those are just some sleeper defenses that you can get later in the draft. And what I would consider doing is streaming it all year and play matchups if you wait too long and don't get a consistently good defense. I do that regularly. I stream my kickers and I stream my defenses and I look for good matchups. Look, all position players are important. Defenses and kickers. You can win games with these two position players. Never take them for granted. In summary, you should be taking a look at my 2019 draft strategies for both kickers and defenses. Another thing you should be doing is making a top 10 list of both kickers and defenses going into a draft. You should know what rounds you're going to take them, and when those rounds come around, you should pick off the list that you've made prior to going into a draft. I'm Buster Brown, the show's Redemption Rehab. Good luck.